Hello, everyone. Welcome to Happy Hour. It is the middle of the week. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. We have had 2 days behind us and we have 2 days in front of us. And we're about to get our happy hour on. So excited to have you here with us, joining us for another episode. And as you come on in, we're going to give people a few more minutes to come on in. As you come in, please indicate where are you? Where in the world are you? So drop it in the comments. Where are you from and what do you do? And would love to see some of the people that we have here joining us. And we'll have some people, I'm sure, drop in. You can drop out, but come on in. If you're catching the replay, make sure you do hashtag replay and make sure that we hear from you, because we know, some of us we're still grinding for the day. We're still working hard for the day, but hopefully you'll be able to catch the replay. Let me introduce myself. I am Lashina Recruitalina, your career mixologist. And why do I say career mixologist? Because we're mixing it up when we talk about the term career, because a lot of times people think of the term career as their 9 to 5, but I really want to make sure that when we talk about a person's career, that it could be anywhere from you having a football career or an athlete career, or it could be a young person, a teenager. It could be my niece who has her own business, and my nephew who has his own business. That's their career for the moment. And there's so many things packed into your career, and it's so multifaceted. It's not just about you going into a job or you having clients. It's also about you taking care of your whole self, your mental, your physical, your nutrition. So many things goes into you being the best that you can be at your career, so that you can bring in the revenue that you need to bring in. So just want to make sure that as we talk about career mixologists, that's how we're mixing things up around here. And so, again, I am your gracious host, Lashina Recruitalina, your six-figure career brand coach. I am absolutely obsessed with your success. And that's what I'm doing this for. That's what Career Happy Hour is all about, is about you being successful in whatever you're doing. Either you're doing a 9 to 5, you're an entrepreneur, you're a solopreneur, you're a parallelpreneur, you're doing it all. That's what this platform is about. It's really about making sure that we bring the happy back into your day in whatever capacity that you're in. So make sure that as you come on in, that you drop us a comment and let us know where you're coming in from, as well as what do you do. I am so elated to be able to introduce my guest co-host for tonight. And it's just so, a lot of times in life you meet people, and then you might, you just don't stay in contact. But then there's other people that you just have this connection to, that you meet, and you know that somewhere that you want them in your circle, in your tribe, in your community. And that is where I see my guest co-host today. And I'm gonna bring her in, and I'm gonna love on her a little bit. I'm gonna love on her a little bit. So Sandy Bell is my guest co-host tonight, and we have some people checking in right now, Sandy. So let me go on and make sure that I show some of the comments. Are you able to see that comment that I put on the board there from Kevin coming in from Atlanta, Georgia?
I see that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, he says my 9 to 5 is the ATL VA. My personal business is I love my yard lawn care. Oh my gosh, I'm loving that name and looking to do more. All right, Kevin.
Okay.
That's my cuz right there. That's my cuz. So I'm gonna have him on here in a little bit. Let's
Yes.
see, somebody
Make
else checking
sure.
in. We have so this one comes up as Facebook user. So
Okay.
um Emma Unforgettable Herd from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for dropping that in, because sometimes Facebook, doesn't like us to be great. So if you're dropping
Yeah.
in from Facebook and commenting, then go ahead and put your name in like Emma did, so that we can know who's talking. So thank you, Emma, for tuning in. So appreciate you.
Thank
Um,
you.
so Sandy, I said, let me love on you a little bit, because I
Okay.
mean this from the bottom of my heart. Like, how long have we known each other for
Oh,
real?
like, oh my God, probably since we were babies, probably what we were in like kindergarten together.
Were we really? Did you go to Davis Elementary?
Yes, yes.
Girl.
So look, we have been through what? Oh, I don't know if we went to junior high together, but I know what elementary, high school for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go to college together. We didn't do that, but yeah, and it's funny because, like you said, we just reconnected, and it was like, hey, I'm in Atlanta. You're like, I'm in Atlanta. And it's like, oh, let's get together. And ever since then, and although we don't talk like all the time, still we'll just hit each other up on text or on Facebook, like, hey, how you doing, lady? How you doing, girl? So
Right.
it's amazing.
It
It's
is. It,
amazing.
it is, and there's special people that you have in your life that's like that, where you have this bond, and you just connect, and no matter the time, the
Yes,
the miles, all of that, you
yes,
just it doesn't matter, because when you reconnect, then you have this synergy that is about yourself. And that's what I feel about you. Like, we are from the same place. We grew up in Montgomery, Alabama. Whoop, whoop, from
yes,
Montgomery.
yes,
Where
yes. We
where
put,
my Montgomery people at?
I,
Because
that's what I was going to say. Where are they?
where are they? We
Where,
need to help represent right here.
right. Where are poets? Where are poets?
Poet for life. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes. Where are poets at? They need to be on here.
But there's just such a sweetness and and you're so authentic, Sandy. Like, I think that is definitely why we've continued to stay in touch, even though it might be spotty, but still, when we reconnected in Atlanta, and you remember what you were telling me, you were like, girl, I'm on this 9 to 5, and I'm trying to work my business, and
Yes,
it's just getting in the way of me working my business.
yes. Oh, yes. I remember. I remember. And you were like, well, how do you get up and do these? I'm like, girl, I get up at like 5 in the morning and make these posts and get ready for work, and then go to this job that I really do not enjoy. Oh my God. And it was crazy. And things happen for a reason, because I decided to leave. And I think I did it probably not like, and I won't encourage everyone to do this, because you have to know what you're doing. But I literally just decided one day, well, my daughter, who is now 10, she stayed sick a lot. And I decided one day, I said, hey, you know what? I'm on FMLA a lot. And for those people that are in the corporate world, you know what FMLA is. And if you have no time, you don't get paid. And I was like, okay, when I am home with her, I have all this time to work on my business. I have all this time. I'm just structuring my time around her. And I decided, I just woke up one morning and called in to work and said I was not coming back. Now, let me say, everybody don't do that. I do not want people to be like, I'm just going to do like Sandy did. No, no, no. Because you do have to make sure you are secured on the back end. So don't say Sandy said I should just call in, because I literally called in and did not go back to work. And that was, I think, September 28th, 2012 is when I did that.
Wow.
And have not looked back
So
since.
so I'm
My
going to
business.
add a little bit of context to what you just said, because that is powerful, and I appreciate the disclaimer, because we ain't trying to have nobody quit and have no money up in there. But
Right.
what I do remember is that, a lot of the things that I coach my mentees on is having multiple streams of income. And if
Mhm.
Career Happy Hour does nothing else for you, listen to me carefully. If Career Happy Hour does nothing else for you, but to give you ideas and suggestions and inspiration on having multiple streams of income,
Yes.
you are a great example and model of that, because you didn't just call in and quit your job knowing that you didn't have
Right.
another stream of income that you had been building. And you had been
Right.
building, Sandy, for years before you quit
Yes.
your 9 to 5, right?
Yes. Right. Right. I mean, I had been working my business for probably what, maybe like 10, 12 years part time and doing a 9 to 5. I started my business in Montgomery. So it was like I was in Montgomery. I moved here, started my business here in the Atlanta market, but it's a little bit crazy because no, I had to make sure that I had clients. You do not want to quit your 9 to 5 and not have clients and just go out here willy-nilly. I will say that for sure. And even when having clients, a lot of times, things may not just turn out the way that, you think they should. You're going to have some slow months and you're going to have, some really great months. But with all of that, you have to make sure that you have your money secured, that you know how to manage your money, because that's where the other part comes in, managing your money. And if you don't know that going into entrepreneurship may not be for you right now. I'll just say for that, because there's different levels and you have to have a different mindset. A lot of people think, oh, when I get this money, it's mine. I used to think that because I had a 9 to 5. But when you quit your 9 to 5 and you don't have that paycheck coming in, and you just have your check from your now entrepreneurship endeavor, you have to balance that money and manage it even more so than you did when you had your 9 to 5 and had two streams of income coming in. And I will say you need to make sure, because some people, they'll jump out there and they'll have one thing, and then before they know it, they're actually getting something else, because that one thing that they felt was going to make them all of this money and generate all of this money is not doing that. So they start having multiple things and everything fall apart, and they go back to their 9 to 5. So, you have, like I said, you have to have support. You have to have that structure. If you have a better half, you need to talk to your better half to make sure that, hey, if I take this journey, are we set up financially for me to do this? Can you carry the weight when I'm not bringing in the additional income to make sure that our household is taken care of? If you're single and you don't have that better half that you can count on, make sure that you at least have 6 to 8 months of income stashed away. So that means that you may have to be, on your 9 to 5 for, like, I was on there for, like I said, it was probably like 10 to 12 years, if not a little bit longer, before I decided to say, hey, okay, I'm now doing my own thing, and I'm good with that. So that's where I am with, with that part.
You dropped some really valuable gems right there. And the one that I'm gonna run with is having that savings of 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
When I tell you, that is so key. And I mean, we need to have that anyway, regardless if you
Right.
try to step out in entrepreneurship. Everyone, listen to me carefully.
Mhm.
Everyone who's listening to this live stream, you
They
need to make
should.
sure that you have 6 to 9 months of your expenses stashed away. And I say that because of, just with everything that's going on in the economy, you just never know what's going to happen with your job. And
Right.
if you're on a 9 to 5, and a lot of times people say, oh, well, if something happens, then I'll be able to find another job pretty quickly. No.
No. Right. Right.
I personally know people who have been out of work. They've been laid off. They've been in search mode for months, and sometimes it goes into years. And it's a
Yeah.
really scary situation. So that's one side of the coin. But then the other side of the coin is if you really want to step out on entrepreneurship, then that's even more important that you make sure that you have that money stashed away. And when you talk about your business, Sandy, let's delve into that a little bit, because the industry that you're in is such a role model, if you will, for how something like COVID-19 and going through a pandemic impacts your ability to make money.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
and how we promo this episode is about being able to stay inspired and stay relevant, because in what you do, that has been so key to your success. So talk to us a little bit about what industry are you in? What is it that you do now with your own business with Imperial Events?
Yes, yes. Well, Imperial Events, I am a wedding and event planner. My company, which is, we have full planning services, we have partial planning, and we have event management, which some people may think of event management as month of, but there's really, I don't think you want anyone to come on to, especially your wedding or any event on the month of, unless they are coordinating or planning that event and have all of the information prior to that month or a day of. So the event management services is something that we offer. I've been in business for over 20 years. And as I stated earlier, those 20 years, that part of that was when I worked a 9 to 5. I did not fall into this industry by being in the hospitality industry. My background was in the mortgage industry, so I felt pain also back in 2007 when everything sort of just went haywire. And I was being laid off. I probably should have pursued doing my business full time then, but of course, fear kicks in, and when fear kicks in, we always do something else or things that we shouldn't have done. And so I went back into the financial industry and stayed there. And like I said, was in a job that I really, really did not like, and decided to fall back on my business so that I could take care of my daughter a lot more than what was happening with me, sometimes sending her to daycare, and then other days she's too sick, so she's coming home, which sort of leads to this thing with COVID. And I guess for me, having that experience, it really helped me as far as COVID is concerned, because I understand people being sick, kids being out, sort of being able to be flexible around that. But for as far as the industry in itself, for your just planning weddings and events all together, we were hit probably the hardest out of well, I'll say between the restaurant industry and the event industry, we were probably hit the hardest out of all the industries, because we just can't come home and plug into our, get our laptops, jump on Zoom, and host live events. Now you can do it to a certain point, but you can't do that in person. There's still certain things that you have to do. So we had to actually figure out and become creative. Zoom has become like our main factor of basically live streaming through Facebook and other sources as well. So that sort of kept us into the game, but we had to just basically just events just stopped, and no one was hosting events, and you had to become creative. And there was ways where, some planners decided to say, hey, I'm going to do, these other events where they can drive by and do things of that nature. For me, because I am such a people person, and because of me having, like I said, a better half that was understanding and understood exactly, okay, this is where we are. This is what's about to happen. This is where we're going. We were able to say, okay, what do we have and how are we going to make this stretch? So it worked itself out to where I wasn't too stressed about what the outcome would look like for that year for 2020, because I knew that I had someone that supported me. Did it get a little sticky sometimes? Yes, it did. But in the end, he supported me very much on everything that I need to do. And for any of the events that I had coming up, I didn't have different things happening or taking place to where I had to cancel, or people just totally decide to postpone without a new date. So that those things worked out well. The industry, COVID changed a lot of things coming out of it. Like when we decided, or when Georgia, I should say, Georgia decided to reopen, we were sort of in the event industry, we're a little bit nervous about that because we didn't have any type of guidelines to follow. So a lot of us got on a call and sort of, strategize, well, how would we reopen, how would planners come in, things of that nature. And luckily enough, I was one of those planners to be able to be on that call with, some of the top in the industry here in the Atlanta market, so that I knew exactly what I needed to do in my game plan that I needed to do for my business, and to make sure that my business continued to be successful as we reopened. So I was definitely glad that I had that opportunity. It actually, I put things in place, just making sure that me and my team, that we were, taking tests. If we need to take tests, we had site centers that we know that we could go to, and where we could actually get rapid tests done and get those back if there was an event that was coming up and we needed to have that done quickly, or if we had events that were a few days out and we didn't have to get the test back so rapidly. So having that, just making sure we take temperatures, just be aware of our environment, our surroundings, making sure we keep our hands sanitized, making sure that we wear a mask all the time. And the vendors that we work with, it's so important to have those professional vendors because they take a key role into making sure that we, stay safe. So staying relevant during this time, or I should say staying relevant out, let's touch on the inspiration part, because when COVID hit, of course you're sitting at home, you're doing things, and you're not out there. Everything that I had planned to do, it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. So for my inspiration, I took a moment to just sort of take that time to dive more into the education part of wedding planning, of event planning. They're two totally different scopes of work, two totally different things when it comes down to the needs of the clients. So just making sure that I had sharpened my skills, that was more for me, and how I stayed inspired during that time, because I was taking in and learning a lot of new knowledge that I had not known. Because as a planner, we know a little bit about everything, but we are an expert at one thing, but we know, a little bit about everything. It's sort of like your primary care physician. They know a little bit about everything, but when it gets a little bit more out of their scope, they send you to the specialist. So for me, it was just learning and being able to, come up with those things, staying inspired by looking at fashion magazines. That's something that I always do. I love looking at interior design, fashion, on different just webinars or Zooms, just to find that inspiration for anything that was coming out there, because I know that after everything changed, what will happen is when we get back into the rim of everything. And when we opened up, that people will still need me to be on top of my game. So I tried to make sure that I stayed relevant and, or I should say inspired at that time. And then relevant, I'll touch on that in just a second. Sheena, did you have something you wanted to ask?
You dropping so many jewels, man. I'm trying to make sure that our audience is really understanding the gravity of the things that you're talking about. Okay, so let me just unpack a little bit, and then I promise I'll let you keep going. So, did did you all hear her talk about when everything with COVID happened? That she jumped on a call with some other industry experts. When I tell you that is so powerful, because individually, we can't know it all. We can't. So that's where you having a network, an ecosystem of people who are also thought leaders in the industry, there's room for us all. And that's where, I talk about, it's not about competition, because you're the only one who can do what you do. But there's
Right.
other people who do it the way that they do it, and then you can collaborate, and then you can, glean information, you can glean inspiration and motivation, and about how you can look at things. So, when we talk about your network is your net worth, this is
Yes.
what I'm talking about. Being able to be with other industry leaders enables you to be able to continue to grow your net worth with your net work. So
Yes.
that's one thing. And then the other thing that I'm gonna pull out, and I promise I'm gonna let you get back to it because you're on a roll, girlfriend. Go, go, go. Is learners are earners. Learners are earners. You have to continue to learn your craft. And if you do not continue to learn your craft, you will be stagnant and you will not be able to
Yes.
keep up with the times. And that's what I heard you talk about, Sandy, is that, of course the industry here, I'm let me put my pen down. Me and my pens. I love my pens. I got a pen fetish, really. Like, for real. I got a pen fetish. We really got to make sure that we continue to learn our craft, because you just never ever know when you might have to pivot in order to switch things. And one of the things that I am so I got to give you your accolades. I got to see. I'm all about giving you flowers while you're here. Like, don't be giving me flowers when I'm dead. I need you to give me flowers while I'm living.
Thank you,
So,
Sheena. Thank you,
so one
Sheena.
of the things that as a career brand coach, I am so proud of you, is that, okay, you said, all right, COVID, I can't be at events in person, when we were, really on lockdown, or I can't, show pictures of where I am, how we usually do on social media. How
Yes.
did you how did you take that and then say, okay, I can pivot, I can be creative. I am so
Well,
impressed with that story. So tell us a little bit about how you were able to still continue to be relevant even though you weren't physically at events.
Well, one way I continued to be relevant was the network that I had, the people that I had contact, the people that from the different venues. Some of them I have a really great connection with, and I have their personal cell phone number. So it's like, hey, how are you doing? Just how are you doing? And that was the first thing to find out is how are you? Because a lot of us were sort of in paralyzed mode. But of course, I have kids. I got, 5 kids. So, it's like my basketball team or whatever on the side. So for me, it's like my brain may not always, it may not go back down to 3. I may still be on 10 and everybody else is on 3. And I'm like, well, what's going on with you? But I internalize things a little bit differently, but when I ask someone like, how are you doing? I genuinely want to know, how are you doing? Not trying to be nosy, not just how are you doing before I continue to carry on my conversation, because how your mental state is plays an important role. You may not want to hear what I'm talking about at the time. And COVID really took, I mean, it was a major blow to a lot of people. So I did reach out to that network, and reaching out to that network and doing things for the network that I'm a part of, it actually helped, because in the end it was like when we started to come back out, just gradually coming out, it's like, okay, I'm back in the office now. And then we start talking about how can we help each other. So that's one way of me becoming relevant and staying relevant. The other thing of it was I started looking into what some of the other corporations were doing, some of the top designers. It was like really important for me to find out what were they doing, how were they staying relevant, how are they working with their teams and not being in the office together. So I made sure I would just go out to different websites just to see what they had posted in the Instagram posts, and just sort of follow them and see what their stories were and read up on their stories. And then some of their content, for instance, if it was a beautiful ball gown, I would actually sometimes just repost, make sure that I gave them credit, or if they had like wherever the image was coming from, take that particular image and repost and just show like, hey, this is, from this designer, and when you think about this for your big day and things of that nature, or maybe for your engagement party or something of that nature. The other way I did stay relevant too, I realized during this time that I had taken myself, although I have a great network, I had taken myself to a certain point, and I felt like when I come out of this, well, I won't say when I come out, but when we came out of COVID, I needed to make sure I had certain things in place. So I actually hired a business coach to actually help me get to that point of saying, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and this to help scale your business so you can continue to grow. Because you have to realize at some point, like you said earlier, Lashina, you don't know everything. You have to have someone to help you, and you have to have someone to, help you structure things and that know things. And the thing of it is, I know I can plan a wedding, with my eyes closed, but at the end of the day, on the business side of it, I'm great with that, but I may need to put some other systems in place. I may need to tweak things. So I wanted to make sure that staying relevant in those areas and making sure that my website was done, that I was posting correctly on social media. So there was some times in between there that I had to actually stop and take a step back and say, hey, some of this is not really what I need to post, and some of this I'm gonna, have to take down, things of that nature. But those were some of the things that I actually had to do to make sure that, I stay relevant in the market. On top of that, having a business coach, having a mentor as well, so that they could help guide me also. And they have, they're more specialized in marketing and things of that nature. So looking at those areas to make sure that I stay relevant in the market and when things really open back up was really key for me, and not just sitting back and creating a pity party, because it's so easy for us to do the pity party. And that's something that I'm not really good at, because again, like I say, I stay on 10 a lot of times instead of 3. So I have to make sure that I, keep myself going and make sure that when that negativity shows up, that hey, I have to talk myself out of that and kick back into the positive mode and keep things going, because your clients want you to show up for them, and they want a beautiful event, regardless of whether it's a corporate event or whether it is a wedding or another social event. So I just like to make sure that I'm showing up and being my best that I can be during that time.
Yeah, when you have 5 kids like you do, I mean, you you working some things, like, you 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 juggling, and just like me, you juggling baseball. I'll pick you up, and I was like, "Okay, Sandy, what about this?" And you're like, "Okay, I got baseball now, but okay, we can do this again." We're multitaskers.
Yes,
Just
yes.
working things.
I was about to say, just work things out. And it's funny because, like, he's at baseball now. Like, he's at base. But I had another parent. I text. I said, "Hey, can you help?" And that's the other thing. You have to, in this world of entrepreneurship, not only do you have to have like a core network for your business, but you have to have that core network too for your personal, because you have to have people to come by and things. And although, like, my two older kids, they're young adults, but of course, young adults do young adult. They some days they're like, okay, yes, I'll babysit. No, I don't feel like dealing with them today. They're just too much. So, we just have our moments, and we. So it's like, okay, who's babysitting? Which one? You guys pick. I don't care who. Somebody just needs to babysit these
Working.
other two, and
It's
we work
working.
it out. We work it out. I'm like, okay, Dad will be home at XYZ time. He'll be here. So then you guys can go do whatever you want to do. But other than that,
Juggling.
you're just
Juggling the ball. One of
yes,
the key things that I really want to make sure that we all pay attention to, that you said that was really key, is that you invested in a coach. That
yes,
is so key, because I think sometimes we feel as if we're supposed to know everything. We're supposed to, do it all ourselves. We're supposed to be these, macho,
right,
heroes and heroes, and it takes a team of individuals. We're an expert at what we do, but then
right,
we need to be able to invest in experts of other things so that we can make sure that and it's about the timing, really.
right.
Can you do it yourself? Absolutely, positively, you can do it yourself. But
Yeah.
how much time is it going to take? Your time is
It,
valuable.
and I was
And
about to, yes,
as much as you can invest in yourself with personal development, with having a coach to be able to guide you and navigate you, I mean, that's so, so key. But I think sometimes we feel like, we're so we end up being, we feel like we're being too vulnerable if we open ourselves up to a coach. Did you feel like that? Because I know I felt like that before I invested in a coach for myself.
for me, I think, because my coach, I knew him way back when too. It's funny how, like you said, things come full circle. And I started following him when he started doing this journey, and I was like, okay, so what is he doing? And let me just see. And it was a long time before I decided to, like, jump in. It was like, how you like you said, you need it, and you need it because you're like, oh God, I've gotten to this point, and now where do I go? And for me, I just knew, I was like, I am tired of going in circles. This is going to take me a little bit longer. I do not have time to always try and look at these YouTube videos, because people love to be like, I learned this on YouTube. Well, no, no,
Yes.
no. You need to invest, because you cannot ask YouTube unless you're on a live. You can't ask those questions, and even on a live, you still may not. Your question may not be answered, because they may have 1,000 other questions as well. But I went ahead and I knew, and it was a mindset thing. And I think, and I keep saying mindset, because at the end of the day, I feel like everything is a mindset in order for you to get to that next level in your life, whether it's personal or professional. And I had to shift my mindset to say, hey, okay, you need to get a business coach so you can understand how to scale. And when you come out of this, you'll be a lot better. Now, if I had gotten the business coach sooner, would I be in a better position? Yes. Would I have multiple streams of income? Yes, because even though I have my wedding planning business, and wedding planning is my sweet spot. I can do other events as well, but wedding planning is my sweet spot. Again, I can plan a wedding with my eyes closed. You have the money, I can plan your wedding in a month's time. 2 months, 3 months. I've planned wedding in 3 months time. So in a month's time, if you have the wedding, believe me, it may take, a lot of little overnight different things to put things into place and get things, but I can roll with that because number one, I'm full time at this. And number two, I built a great network of vendors so that I can, call in or send an email, get those quotes so that I can make sure that I'm in that scope that they need. But again, that's just one thing. And understanding that, okay, I am getting older. I don't want to, when I started this journey in my early 20s, tell how old I am, how old we are, Sheena. But when I started this journey,
I don't know what you're talking about.
so you're still 19, right?
21. I gotta be 21 to drink.
Okay, yeah, 21 to drink. Right, 21 to drink. Well, but for me, when I started it, I actually had a friend that was an accountant, and he had his own accounting firm. And I used to admire the way he would just like, after he had his like yearly clients that he did accounting for, but during tax season was like his busiest time of the year. But in the summertime, I just admired how he would travel. And, I'm on my 9 to 5 and I have to sit up here and wait till my lunch hour. He's like, hey, let's go to lunch. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, but I can't go to lunch until this time. And he's just going to lunch. And I was like, I want that life. I want that for myself. I don't want people telling me, when to go and what to do. So I knew that I wanted that for myself very early on. Like I said, I sort of fell into wedding planning. It wasn't something that I just decided, oh, I just love, these beautiful flowers and this, that, and other, because how things are today was definitely not how it was back then. And we didn't have as much social media either. You only had the Knot. There was a magazine. It was an all black magazine. And I think the owners were out somewhere. I don't know if they were in Columbus, Georgia, or if they were out of Atlanta, but I think it was called For Us or All of Us or something. I can't remember, but you only had a select few wedding magazines that were out there. So you had to have a magazine, you were looking through magazines for inspiration at that time versus having Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, having all of these different things. And then on top of companies having their websites, all that stuff didn't exist back then. So of course things were a lot different. And, there was no, when I started, there was no internet, people. There was none of this. We were, oh God, if we had COVID back then, we all would probably be messed up. But there was nothing. Had cell phones like this big, you know. But I just knew that I wanted that, and now that I've gotten older and having, out of the 5 kids, the youngest, he'll be 4 next month, I'm like, okay, I know that I want to scale my business. I know I still need those additional streams of income. And me knowing that, said, okay, you got to change your mindset. You have to invest in a coach, get someone that can coach you, and get someone that, because I love to giggle, laugh. I'm like I said, people person. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to talking numbers and talking, I want you to be very direct with me. I want to know my money. Just tell me what I need to do, and I will get it done. I don't want the fluff part. The fluff doesn't sell with me very well, because I need to know this is what you need to do to get this and do this. And I feel like I'm coachable. Now, there are times when I would question things. It's like, that may not sound right, or can I do that? But for the most part, I feel that I'm coachable. And I think that's how I didn't feel so vulnerable. I just felt like it was that time. And if I want that time that I had desired back in, my early 20s when I started my business, this is the time that I need to do that, so that I can have another planner under me come in, do the work, and I could be off somewhere with my kids at Disneyland or whatever the case may be, because that's what, when I started that business, what I desire.
So absolutely. And that's so key, is scalability. because there's only so much that one person can do when you talk about your business. You need to be able to scale your business. And that's so key in being able to do that. And I know that we're winding down, Sandy. I can't believe
Hello.
time is passing so fast. But I want you to be able to, okay, I'm gonna say one more thing, and then I want to be able for you to be able to share with our viewers, how is it that you are able to assist them, in what's going on. But one of the key things that I saw with your branding, because I'm all about your career brand, and your
Yes.
career brand is popping, and it's because you're repurposing images that may not necessarily be today, but they happened at some point. But it's
Yes.
still making you relevant. It's still keeping people inspired. It's still keeping you top of mind when it comes to your business. And so, Where was that switch for you? Like where you thought, okay, I can still post,
Yes.
really beautiful imagery. It doesn't have to be today.
Right, right. And you know what? And it's funny that you brought that up, because and had me to think about that. Again, it comes back down to your network. I'm actually the president of the International Live Events Association in Atlanta. We are the oldest event organization in Atlanta. And I have under me, there's quite a few board of directors. And one of the board of directors, she handles our social media and marketing. And she is, when I tell you, just very, very a whiz, just a genius with social media marketing. We had a conversation where I was just sharing with her some of the information that I had shared, or that I had received from my mentor, and some of the things that I was talking about with my business coach. And she just told me, she was like, Sandy, take a moment to just pull images, go through all of your images and pull everything that you have that you would like to post. And it didn't have to be anything that was recent, but something to make sure that you're staying relevant. And that was so key to me. The crazy thing, my business coach had told, he had told me the same thing. We were on a call, and they had mentioned the same thing. But I think at that point in time, I didn't receive it the same, because again, like I said, sometimes I just need people just to be flat out like, no, do it this way, and don't, focus on all this other stuff. So with her sharing that with me, it allowed me to go back through some of my other clients, some of the past clients, pull from that some images. Some of the images I had never shared before, some of them I had. So just being able to go and pull that helped me to stay relevant as well. And that was really key, having those images from their weddings, and from other events. That really stayed key, for me, or was the key for me, to keep me relevant in the industry and to show people that, hey, yes, I am an expert. I have done this. And not only that, I was able to do a style shoot with some amazing vendors at Zoo Atlanta. And if you guys are looking for a venue space and you are that person that says, hey, I want a space that not everyone has been at, that is the space. They were preparing to open last year, but of course, COVID hit. So they had to hold off opening the Savannah Hall. So now it is open. So if you're looking to have any event, whether it's a corporate or wedding or social event, they have a ton of options for you. But we did a style shoot there. Amazing, amazing style shoot, tons of images, and I was able to use a lot of those images as well. And what I've done when I repurpose the images is not, if you read the caption is always telling you something different about the image, even if it was something that I had actually used or posted before. so that you can get a better idea of what's going on as far as maybe the gown, what type of embroidery, or I shouldn't say embroidery, but what type of fabric is made out of, or maybe the veil, if it's cathedral veil, or whatever the case may be, the flowers, if there's a lot of color, if the color is bold, things of that nature. So those little details that you may not see with your eye because you're not an actual planner, or you're not in the event industry, so you're not a designer or anything of that nature. But it allows me to take those images and to point those things out, so it shows that I'm an expert in the field that I say I'm an expert in.
Oh my goodness, Sandy, man, you are working it. That's what I'm talking about. Repurpose your images. When I tell you, anyone in
Yes,
any industry, when you're looking to be, as I talk about, being visible, being recruitable, like being out there, people will recruit you because of the influence and because of you being relevant in the industry. And so repurposing imagery, I want to talk to that just like really, really quickly, because that's really key. Now in your industry, that's maybe the event location, or maybe the bride, or the wedding party. But for some others, it could be, what you're doing on your job. It could be you doing a
yes,
speaking engagement. It could be you on a Zoom call. Any of those things that you are feeling your as I talk about
yes,
your you need to go
yes.
take your phone out
Yes,
and take a picture. And it
right,
doesn't mean
right,
that you have to post it right then. Just
right.
have it in your gallery. And
Yes,
then when you need to, get something out on social, then you can post it then. It doesn't have to
right.
be that day. And that's what we talk about.
Yes.
We talk about repurposing images. Just go on and snap pictures. When I tell
Yes.
you the pictures that I have in my gallery, it's endless. But then when it's one of those days that you feel crappy and you're just like, you know what, I just don't even feel like being up to this. Then you can go in your
Okay.
gallery and
Yes.
you can post. You can post
Yes.
on any of your social media outlets, LinkedIn included.
Yes.
A lot of people who are on LinkedIn, you need to make sure that you're being visible on LinkedIn. But repurposing, I think, is truly, truly key. I mean, especially, with what you're doing, Sandy, is that, you're not necessarily in your normal, mode of being able to have
Right.
those pictures from those events. So you're able to repurpose that. So let's talk a little
Yes.
bit about, we're getting close to our time, end of time. So if if
Yeah.
there's anyone who, might have gotten the question popped for Valentine's Day, Valentine's Day is one of those key times that people, pop the question.
Yes.
For any of those who got the question
Right.
popped for them, or that you have any upcoming social events or corporate events, as you talked about, how are they able to get in contact with you? And I think I heard you talk about a little freebie that you might be able to give away. So just a little bit
Yes.
about.
We did talk about that freebie, and I think I forgot to tell you guys. But yes, I am giving away actually a two 1 hour complimentary consultations that is valued at $99 an hour. So if you are interested, you need to actually go to www.imperialevents.llc, and events has an S on it.com. Click the contact button and put your information in the contact form. Let me know if it is a wedding, or if it is another social event, or even if your company is needing something from a from Zoom, or something that they're doing for corporate. So definitely drop the information in there. I will receive an email. Let me know that you were at Career Happy Hour so I know that it is from you, so that you will get the 2 1-hour complimentary consultations for us to go over and discuss where you are in your planning process for whatever the event may be, and also just to give you more of a strategy or just to help you within that time frame. So definitely make sure, again, it is Imperial Events. Events has an S on it, llc.com. Click the contact form and drop your information in there, and I'll be in contact with you.
Awesome. Well, I went on and I put that in the chat so that they have it there, but then it's also on the scroll so you can see
Okay.
that I have my email address there as well as Sandy's website. So Sandy, I am just so super excited about us reconnecting, being able to share this platform of being able to host another episode of Career Happy Hour. All of your gems and nuggets and inspiration and motivation is so powerful. It's just really, encouraging to be able to hear someone's stories of not only their successes, but when things are down and out, and when you're in the trenches, when they're not
Yes.
going well. I mean, that's when we learn so many things to be able to make us better. And that's really what we're so appreciative of you coming to us and being able to share this information. And so, is there any parting words that you want to share with us before we close up another session of Career Happy Hour? Because we are at the end of our time. I can't believe it passes so fast.
It did. It did. I really appreciate you having me on and let me co-host with you today. Listen, it's been amazing, and hopefully we can do this again. I know you have to make your rounds to everyone, but this was really fabulous, and I definitely are. Again, like I said, for anyone that's out there that's looking to become an full-time entrepreneur, just make sure that you look closely at your financials before you decide to get out there, and make sure you have something and you're generating income before you decide to step out there. Don't step out with just one client. Make sure you have more than one, unless that one client is paying you a really, really nice check on there. But definitely do that, and make sure you continue to learn your craft. But if you are looking for a wedding planner, we are all in. We are ready to take you on as a client, and we'll be happy to help you celebrate. But that's all
Awesome.
I have.
Thank you so much, Sandy. We so appreciate you coming in and being able to drop all of those gems and inspiration with us. It's just really helpful to be able to hear it from individuals who are in the trenches and really doing it and making things happen. So we really appreciate you joining us tonight, Sandy, and so grateful for your friendship and just all that you do to pour into individuals. So we are going to wrap up another session of Career Happy Hour. So grateful for all of you who were able to tune in, and for those who are catching us on the replay, make sure that you hashtag replay. And we have so many more exciting guests coming up. I cannot wait for you to be able to hear some of the upcoming guests that we have. So I am Lashina Recruitalina, your six-figure career brand coach. I am absolutely obsessed with your success. Please make sure that you connect with me if you're interested in connecting on your career, on being able to expand your career brand. I have my email address here and the ticker at hello@lovewhatyoudolc.com. And then also, please make sure that you connect with Sandy. Her information is on there as well, imperialevents.llc.com. And then make sure that in the notes section that you indicate that you attended careerhappy.com. Thank you so much again for all of your support and all of you who were able to join us, and looking forward to another session. All right, have a great night and see you next time. Bye.